Guys, the most exciting time of the year is right here upon us. What am I talking about? Pre-spawn. Let's have some fun. Yeah, like in my opening, I said I love pre-spawn bass fishing. That's one of my most favorite times because, look, these bass have been hunkered down all winter long. They've been just not moving, and now, just like here in Tennessee, we're starting to get some good rain, at night and everything, and that's what warms the water up, and these fish are going to be moving. A lot of times they're already moving. They're already staged and ready to start heading back out of the rivers, heading back into the creeks and the coves, and believe me, if you're not ahead of them, you're going to be hurting this year. But pre-spawn, I've caught some of my best fish. Some of those pictures you saw right there in the opening, those are pre-spawn fish that I've caught. And I love pre-spawn because the biggest bass will come up out of the deep. They'll start heading back to start doing their spawning, and they're hungry, they're moving, and it's just a great time. So let's talk about a few things. My number one thing I'm going to start with, because even though you're still in a transition of going from winter time to springtime and the water's changing, I'm still going to go with a old school clown Rapala husky jerk. If you're not familiar with a husky jerk, man, these things have been around forever. And this time of year, they'll start coming out, and this will get them. A lot of smallmouth. As water warms up, smallmouth will spawn before the largemouth, of course, and they will eat this up with that chartreuse and that red and the silver. And the way that a husky jerk sits in the water, it's just they can't stand it. They gotta eat it. They can't stand it. That's my first thing I'm gonna start, because the water's still kind of cool. As it warms up a little more later on, a little bit further on down the end of the month, going into March of the pre-spawn, I'm gonna stay with my oranges, which I'm gonna throw this is a lunker hunt, flat side. And it's red. You can see it. Anything red, flat side, will keep a tight wobble. I love a number 5 shad wrap in a crawl color. Now, I always try to do something with some orange in it. You see that orange? I always do something with an orange. But number 5 shad wrap in that crawl pattern is a killer in the spring, in the pre-spawn. I'm still sticking with my jigs, staying with your browns, your oranges. This is a 3/8 jig, and like I said, it's got your brown and your orange in it. And I'll put me a nice small trailer on that, because you want to keep your trailer small, because the crawfish are small this time of year. They're not great big. They're small also, so that's what you want to stay with. Again, going with a number 5 shad wrap, especially if you're throwing around rocky banks such as that. It's a good tight wobble, and they really like that. Another thing that I like in the pre-spawn, one thing that I really like to do with soft plastics. Like I said, your craws are small, so I'm going to stick with your smaller crawl soft plastics. This here's a Reaction Innovations small beaver. And what I'll do, I'll just take, where'd my scissors go? I'll just take that and I'll cut those little appendages off of it like that, because I don't want a lot of movement. I still want some, but I don't want a lot of movement. And that's what you're going to get with something like this right here. You're not going to get the big flapping. And a lot of times, what I'll do, I'll take and I'll cut the end of that off, and I'll put that on a about a 1/8 shaky head. This one here is a spot remover, and I'll just put that on there, something like that. Twist that on there, and I'll throw that right there because it's small. It can get down on the bottom and just barely moving it, or you can take off moving and stop it. One of the two, but the main thing is it not being very big. That's the main thing. A weightless fluke. I like a weightless fluke. Chartreuse tail in the springtime is really good. You can look back on some of my videos that I've got with a small weightless fluke with a chartreuse tail in the spring. So you can see just a few of the lures that I've got that I like to use in there in the spring, because pre-spawn, they're hungry, they're starting to move. They haven't seen any lures since last fall. A lot of them hadn't. Where on into the summer, they're going to see everything in the world come at them. But right now, they're not used to seeing anything. And like I said, they're hungry, they're moving, and it's just a fun time of year. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed that. Those are some things that I use, and I'm sure on your individual lakes you can use some other things. But those are some things we like to use around here. Catch a lot of fish with those. Remember now, the smallmouth will start spawning about 60-degree water. They like any of these, so that's something to be considered too, is the smallmouth. But as the largemouth come along, they're going to like that because they're ready to eat. They're going to fix to have the set up on the beds, and pre-spawn is a great time to catch probably your best fish of the year. So y'all come on back, and hope you like the video, and subscribe if you don't mind, and we'll do it again. I always enjoy y'all coming by the shop. Thanks a lot.